cold enough. Actually got some frost last night.
Well, that wasn't the best campsite ever. Once I actually set up the tent, I had to get back out and move it once because I was a little too sideways. Basically, I can sleep on almost anything up to a pretty steep angle as long as my head is up. I thought it was relatively flat, but yeah, I tend to roll down to the side. Unfortunately, the ground here is not actually flat. It's got these bundles of grass and things, so I kind of had to lay moving around in between them. If I was on one of my air mattresses, I wouldn't even have noticed whatever I was on, but yeah, with this foam, that's one of the downsides. The fog came in last night, so I woke up and everything was both soaking wet and covered in frost. So I'm just letting everything dry out right at the moment. I have a few miles down the hill to where my bucket is. My hope is to stop at the fire station and not only get water, which I know their tap is on, but I'm hoping there'll be some place to plug my battery in because you know, you're always running a little short on something, but I'd feel a little better if I could charge my battery a bit. So it's now Wednesday. We don't know exactly when Taters is going to join me out here. We're planning on Saturday, but there's a possibility if, you know, I'm relatively accessible, she can get up to me on Friday. And that'll be my next resupply after this. So yesterday was a good rough day. My watch actually registered about 7,000 feet of gain, which is probably a little bit of an overestimation, but not by much. Big climbs, lots of up and down, so I was pretty beat by the time I got here. And then I start having trouble sleeping because I just get these like deep bone muscle aches in my legs. Happened on the PCT a bunch. That was why every time you saw me in a hotel or zero, I was soaking in a bathtub. It lasted even after I finished the trail. When I was visiting my parents after finishing at Hart's Pass, that's all I'd do. I'd be in the bathtub multiple times a day, just soaking. Out here, there's not much to be done for it other than take, you know, ibuprofen, stuff like that to kind of numb it. Oh yeah, that's the other reason I stopped here last night. Wasn't an ideal place, but I really was tired of going through crap like this. There really are a good number of bear tracks up here. Okay, there's the fire station that I'm hoping is going to save my butt as far as having power. And hopefully Jen left a bucket back here somewhere. And Taters comes through. So we ended up taking the advice of the guy that wrote the guidebook out here and just burying Home Depot buckets / paint buckets. We originally had a 2-gallon, but that didn't fit. And some of this is a little overkill. I haven't gone through near as much fuel as I thought I would. Also, to answer the obvious question, yes, I was concerned with bears and whatnot, but Brian swears he's done this a bunch of times and has never had anything disturb the dirt, so decided to go with it. Also, I really have to up my snack game here. So you might have noticed I have a Sprite bottle here. Sprite tends to be one of the big things I really appreciate after I've been out for a while. You know, the sugar and just the fizziness and everything. But also, I wanted the bottle because I finally found that backcountry bidet thing, and I figured I would try it. Others have said that this amount of liquid was enough to be able to do their business. You see the cap just kind of jams in there. And it's actually kind of timely because it looks like the pile of wipes I had in here to restock me is not in here. Oh man, my pack was almost empty today, it felt like. Every time I think maybe I should downsize to a circuit or one of the smaller packs, I remember that I do these longer food carries, and it's like, oh yeah, good to have the space. Okay, as it turns out, they were nice. Wall plug. And here's the spigot that the guide talked about, which fortunately is on. Well, thanks to the nice fire station guys, I now have enough power to get me comfortably through to the weekend, hopefully if nothing else happens. I also found out it looks like there is cold weather and rain on the way, so good and bad. So I'm amused at attempts to avoid roadwalks at all extremes sometimes. So this is paralleling a road right off to the left. Seems like they just bushwhacked about 40 feet over here just so they wouldn't have to walk on the shoulder. If nothing else, the ECT taught me to really appreciate roadwalk sections when they occur. It's a nice break from the bushwhacking and, you know, tripping over barbed wire fences over there. The bucket that Jen buried had another 4 days of food in it along with a couple of treats. So I should be good through Saturday night. We don't know if she's going to be able to get to me on Friday or Saturday because, you know, it depends where I am. So this next bit is going to follow Bear Canyon up to Deal Junction and then Rancho Nuevo campsite. That was where I started my last section last time. I was running out of time before the PCT, so I did that and ended at basically the Chesapeake trailhead. I remember actually really liking this section, other than Brian convinced me to go check out Upper Rancho Nuevo. Said it was like a mini Zion. And all I ended up in was a giant scorching bushwhack. But he swears there's something cool up there. And look who is back. Seem like I'm really good at timing these climbs during the hottest part of the day. Back to some flowing water finally. So these campsites are kind of a mixed bag. This one isn't bad. I'd camp here as long as I didn't have to have a fire. But not all of them actually have space to set up a tent. See McGuire Spring last night. Anyway, I go this way. This is the Rancho Nuevo campsite and trailhead. This is where Jen and I started the last section I did back in 2020. Just ran across two Forest Service vehicles, but they didn't even stop to say hi. That is a really, really pretty section. Not the fastest going with all the overgrowth though. Really hoping I can find some water up here. Then I'm pretty much gonna settle in for the night. Okay, I may be in trouble here. I've been counting on finding water up ahead based on what I've seen before, but it's now getting kind of late and I'm kind of far into the day. I'm gonna have at least 3 or 4 miles of backtracking if I have to go back to the last water source. So I've just been debating if I wanted to try and spend a night with the 1.5 liters or so of water I have and just try and push on to the next one, or if I wanted to do a big backtrack, and that is a relief. There's at least puddles. Took a little bushwhacking, but look what I found. Good enough for me. Found a small patch back where I bushwhacked for water and decided this is going to be home sweet home for the night. Get bundled up before the temperature drops too much. So I'm pretty sure I manually removed a couple hundred of ticks today, you know, just having to flick them off my clothing. And of course, the best part of this resupply strategy,